Hi, welcome to the Agent Odyssey. My name is Matt Wyman. I am the co-founder and CEO of Acario. Acario provides a simulation environment so you can test your agents and find all the edges and remove risk before you go to production. Today, I'm really excited to have two people joining us. We have Nina Mladenovski, co-founder of ZeniaGraph.ai, and her co-founder, Aurelije Zovko. AZ, great to have you here. So together, they have decades of experience with large-scale technology initiatives in financial services, with automation, and ZeniaGraph is trying to bring that all together. Sort of the intersection of automation, knowledge graphs, real-world enterprise constraints. Nina, can you tell us a little bit more about ZeniaGraph? Like, what are you tackling? Who are you focused on? Tell us more.
Sure. So ZeniaGraph has been around for a little over 2.5 years. We're going to hit 3-year milestone this year. We are an IT consulting firm that focuses on AI automation and really helping our clients with big data challenges, data privacy. So we work with, all the fancy technology that you hear going on nowadays, generative AI, machine learning, large language models. But the differentiator with us is we also incorporate knowledge graphs into all of our solutions and accelerators. And we're really here just from inception all the way to support for our clients.
So it needs to say this puts you at the front lines of enterprise actually trying to solve problems, which means instead of you having just like the one product you're trying to build, you're trying to deal with all the different possibilities of what people are intending. So as you're going out and talking to new customers and you're thinking about um, how many overpromises there have been in the world and their mental model, how do you start that conversation about what's possible and how do you navigate the expectations?
Sure. So a lot of it is education. Every company, if it's small, medium to enterprise level, they need a little different, especially for use cases, even different products. There's going to be a lot of different requirements, different terms, and we want to make sure that every single one of our clients is taken care of. So we really spend a lot of time understanding the requirements, educating them on some of the technology that we use, even though some of these terms have been around a long time. For example, knowledge graphs are a fairly new term for a lot of people. A simple way I like to describe them is Google has the largest knowledge graph in use today. So anytime you go onto Google Maps, which I'm sure some people do daily, you're using a knowledge graph in the background. It's a very easy real world use case that knowledge graphs can help people. It's an intuitive way to see your data. So it's not like an Excel sheet where you go into one row, one column, and you don't see how that data connects. Knowledge graphs are what connects it, what makes semantic data understandable and usable for business and data decisions. So a lot of that is, in terms we educate our clients, and then we also want to make sure that they understand that AI is not a one solution, a magic wand that you can wave and everything is done. If you've used chat gpt, I'm sure people have noticed that sometimes it hallucinates. It adds things that are not possibly true or that they want you to see. And my answer can be different than if AZ is using ChatGPT, it'll give a different answer. So AI is a wonderful tool that can be used for a lot of things. But again, it's not a one-stop shop that can solve everything.
So especially with the graph being such a central pillar of what you're building, do you find that you're going out to prospects and trying to explain that? Or do you find they're coming to you already understanding that they have some sort of data problem and that then they're just curious about the graph as a potential solution? How are you managing that?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the time it is education. They don't come to us knowing what a knowledge graph is and the full usage of what a knowledge graph can do. So it is a little bit of a curve there. Most of the time, they do understand that data is a problem. A lot of companies nowadays are online based fully, and there's a lot of data out there that can be very useful for companies if they use it in the right way, which a lot of us aren't.
Can you like give me a couple examples? Like what are the kinds of projects that you're delivering on? using this approach?
Sure. I think AZ can add to this. Yeah.
Yeah, so all kind of project and from the small projects and something what we call that accelerators that we can very quickly bring solution to the customer to the bigger project and that encompasses the AI strategy, data strategy. What Nina said, completely agree. Right, you start with data and AI is not magic. So like if you have wrong data, you bring garbage in, you get garbage out, right?
Yep.
And so we can kind of all kinds of projects and just to touch first question, I don't see that, I'm over 40 years in industry. I don't see that much change because at the end, this software development process, right? Now you have a better, smarter tools, more capabilities. And with that, you get more kind of constraints you need to do, right? Because before will be, I can do this, right? And I can constrain my output by click on the button and I know what I'm getting back. Now, if you click on the button, airline, you can do many other things, right? But what we advise our customers is that really at the end is a sort of development process, right? You need to understand, what is requirements. You need to put proper plan and really educate them, what is capabilities of new technology. And that's coming to the knowledge graph and AI, what they can do. And of course, we always say it should be some human in the loop somewhere, right? We see it now more as augmentation. We don't think that it be kind of, I replace completely someone. We are not there yet, right? But that's kind of projects we are tackling from small to big ones and really educating, how to do these projects.
I think this is it's an interesting common situation that folks are finding themselves in right now, which is the questions I guess I have for you is how much of the agentic LLM based world is necessary to make the most out of the knowledge graph that you're delivering, and how much of this was possible 5 years ago, 8 years ago? Like where's and mostly I'm listening in your customers' minds, like what you need to do, but in your customers' minds, is this an entirely new area, or do they see this as a better version of something that they can kind of locate mentally amongst an existing map of technologies?
So AZ, you can add on to. I'll just give a couple of words. I think it varies also by industry. So we'll have we have experience with some law firms, some wealth management firms that are smaller, and their tech team is very like a couple of people that might not have as much experience or are newer to the workforce. Even that they themselves don't know the technology as well or the full capabilities. So even though, as I mentioned before, knowledge graphs have been around for years, but not many people have used them to the full capabilities that they're really capable of doing.
Possible.
That's possible. So I think that's my little addition. AZ?
Yeah. From my experience, right, I work with big, large financial companies. I deliver AI in production, and very critical production like traders and really making the decisions which are very powerful, right, in sense of impact. And I think for me, I see that agentic is just another way to build these automation and solutions with much more capabilities. You need to constrain, right? But building automation before, yeah, we use AI and now, for example, we get email and now I need to look at intent and saying what this customer really wants, right? It was not easy. And you need to build custom models. Now when you think now I have LLM, right? I can ask LLM, what is really intent, and then I can go through the process automation. So I'm seeing this as just more capabilities coming with agentic and LLMs and GenAI. I have more power and more tools to be much more smarter. Even they're not reasoning yet, but probably coming soon. But then, the challenge explaining to our customers is now, yeah, you have the power, but you need to know how to use that, right? Because you can go the wrong direction and they can provide wrong answers. They can, it's really a little bit different how you do software development, how you deliver project. And usually what I advise our customers saying that, it's not like I can tell you it'll be 3 months, right? You need to really be more flexible, have good kind of plan, and be ready for your iteration, because iterating can really make some solution work.
I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding, it suggests that some companies are finding their path to market through the mandates for AI, right? They work, there's a man inside of a larger company or a mid-sized company, there's a mandate to use AI. And so people are sort of given permission, for lack of a better term, to go out and find AI solutions. But what I'm hearing here is you're solving a problem. You're helping organizations pull together, from a consulting standpoint, you're solving problems within their IT. You're using a graph to make a better solution, but it's not again, I'm assuming it's not an AI first motion. It's an AI powered motion. In other words, we're solving a problem for you, and yes, it uses AI. We're using agentics. We're using mechanisms to accelerate it, to deliver faster, to be a higher quality, but it's not the leading edge. Is that fair?
Fair for the most part. We really, as a consulting firm, we want to make sure that our clients and potential clients understand that we want tangible, results from when we work with you. We don't want to make promises that we can't keep. There's a lot of saturation in the AI market right now. It's booming, but there's a lot of companies promising things that they can't deliver. So us being, around a couple of years now and really wanting to make sure we're client focused first, we want that ROI. We want those, time to show you that we can get the things that need to get done. So it's focused more on that, not just, oh, hey, AI can solve everything for you. You don't need to worry. Just leave it to us. We've also seen a little bit of a gap between SMBs and enterprises. Enterprises want long term. So they want something that'll mitigate risk, want solutions that'll be integrated within their platform. And a lot of the times they go with companies that have a lot more market share or have years of experience and their name is recognizable, rather than a smaller consulting firm such as us. But with all that red tape, how long it'll take to get into full implementation, a lot of that value and really what AI can do can get lost in the mix of everything. Whereas small to medium businesses, they're looking to grow. The new thing is AI, and it's very fancy, and they want a full-blown solution for, let's say they're having issues with sales. They're expanding their sales team. They're not doing what they need to, not hitting quota. They want an entire solution at their fingertips where they can, pay one fee and then not have to worry about it again. And a lot of what we do is not really geared towards that as much, because there's no value in a one solution fits all.
The one,
A
yeah.
lot of, yeah, a one solution is not going to fit everyone. That's why we have reusable APIs and our solutions are agile, but they're very customizable because everyone we've talked to needs something a little different. So that's kind of the gap that I see with the different clients that we've talked to.
I think it's also the power of AI these days. I mean, it's one of the reasons using agents and agent networks is so powerful, is because you don't have to modify your business to meet the product. You can actually have a product that fits your business. And I think that it fundamentally shifts the conversation. Izzy, it looks like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I like to just add what Nina said, is that what we see, especially with big enterprises, is that uh, they're always thinking, is this hype or not? Even ML is very long, right? And probably they're using AI and ML, but now they're seeing this hype, and they fear that internal teams saying, hey, it's cool to be Gen AI, it's cool to build agents, right? And they're trying to differentiate, is it hype? You know how much you want to go. Is this really use case for the agentic or not, right? So that could be big part of saying, yes, I want to do something, is saying, is this use case really fit the agentic use case and new use case, or is just hype and you like to do it just to learn, right? And then on the smaller companies, we see, hey, I need to grow, I need to fix this. I'm not good with technology, or I have some technology, but tell me, I like to have it ready and go, right? So this is what Nina tried to explain. It's just depending on customers. There's different ways to approach it and different ways to really what we provide. We have those accelerators. We could kind of small companies go something faster to the market.
So that makes a lot of sense. How do you help people navigate? Because I would assume you don't know where they're going to land before when you start to engage. So how do you help them navigate the what's possible question and how they actually solve, especially from a consulting standpoint? Because you start with a blank page, right? In terms of consulting.
Yeah, so I'm sure AZ will add on to this, but to start off, we want to know the customer. We want to know your pain points. We want to know what needs to be done in detail so that we can give you the best solution. A big differentiator between us is AZ's expertise leading teams and from inception to full blown production in these enterprise companies that were finance, wealth management, insurance. So even though our accelerators are not industry specific, we do have a lot of expertise in the background with these claims processes, other processes in these types of organizations where AZ's expertise comes into play there. So AZ, if you'd like to add.
Just to continue, an example is, right, we have accelerators, right? And whole story on very high level will be you have a lot of data sources. You need to clean it, connect it, find the golden data source, semantically connected. Then you put some algorithm saying, now I have a good data. Now, hey, let me predict something or say, I'll find someone who is similar to you, or I can find some new lead similar to you. And then you provide some insights on top of that, right? So what we did, we built that as a solution and we call accelerator, right? So we do demo. We say, okay, and we go through that process and we're saying, okay, now, is your process similar? How many data sources you have? Do you use any AI? Do you have any algorithm for that, right? And then we try to say that we can take our solution and internally what they have and what we want to build, and we can mix it together and provide solution for customers. So that's kind of one example what we like to do because we have a lot of these solutions implemented.
You're able to bring the Lego bricks forward.
Yeah.
In many of the consulting engagements I've been a part of, there's an SOW, and as the client, often I can articulate, hey, these are the problems I'm trying to get solved. But I have to imagine what you just described. There's an opportunity to do some experimentation, to do some rapid prototyping, to do more of a POC process. And I'm just curious how do you navigate that? How does that work?
Yeah, so we've done a couple of POCs in each area that we're kind of working all of our services and accelerators. And honestly, we take it as a learning curve ourselves. AI is from 3 years ago when we first started to now, so much has changed, so much has been added on. So we use it as a learning curve for ourselves. And our development team, we're always trying to, AZ being in the industry for 30, 35 plus years, even how he's seen the technology really go from, early 2000s to now. There's always new ways to use it, new ways to be innovative. So each one, we take it as an opportunity to do just that.
And to add, Matt, we kind of promise that we can do very quick POCs, like 2 to 4 weeks. And twofold, right? To demonstrate technology on their use case, right? So one will be, okay, this is what we have. It could apply for you, but we can demonstrate that, right? And do quick POC to really showcase technology and what is working, what's not working. And on top of it, we like to clear their requirements and their understanding what they want to do, because most of the time someone will come and say, this is what they want. And then you build something, they're saying, no, this is something completely different, right? So we'll allow these quick POCs to really clear and be 100% sure what is required and what they want to do, and help them to understand technology, help them understand what you can do, what you cannot do, how long it will take, and give them some kind of sense, you can go this to another way, take more risk, less risk, right? And provide our knowledge, really building these solutions to help them to decide, what to be approach and how we want to continue.
I'm happy to hear that, because too many times I've sat in front of an SOW and everyone's trying to contribute more and more details, which could be completely wrong. They're just assumptions being made. Whereas an iterative process is, and especially if you can do it rapidly, allows clarity on both sides, both in terms of expectations for what's going to be delivered, but also in expectations for what it's going to take to deliver that. And so you can kind of find, and I know the world of agiles tried to create that, but it's not a process problem. It's a delivery. It's exactly what you'd express. It's about iteration and delivery and realizing as you go through that process, are you finding that you're uncovering new types of red tape or perceived risks or problems of, anywhere across the business? It's an open-ended question. Procurement, security risks. Are you uncovering things they would otherwise not have seen until later?
Go for it.
Yeah, I had a couple of good examples, like especially bigger organizations, right? They like solution, but the what Nina said, and I always say it's a data, right? So they have so much data, they replicate data everywhere. They don't even know how many times data replicated, and they want to build solution, right? Especially enterprise solution. So just kind of guiding them to say, yeah, you need to make sense of your data and understand what you have, semantically connect. And that will take a long time, right? So almost like that cannot be like 3-4 months project, right? It will be a very long project. And again, the smaller companies, it will be, yeah, okay, your data is simpler. Your goal is that, right? And you can advise to get there, right? So, I see all these dynamics and it is kind of really understanding the need and understanding their attitude, their knowledge of technology, how much they know about new technologies, what is their process like. You put all that together and then you advise what to be the next steps of how to execute.
The opportunity to learn, and especially data sprawl is a huge problem. The opportunity to learn through the process of, you have a business problem. But I have found, at least in larger businesses I've been a part of, when I start to tug out one problem, I uncover 2 and 3 more problems that go beyond that. I think I was a little bit hunting to see if that's what you're seeing as well as you do the POCs. As you do these POCs, do you find that there's more things? And I think you're describing that question of like, well, how do you navigate? We have data sprawl, but do we really need, what part of it do we need to fix? What part of it do we not need to fix? Are there like skills that you're wishing people sort of incorporated and spent more time on to learn how to help guide you and participate in this process?
Everyone's a little bit different. I think just being open to learning, open to unlearning some things that, corporate structure has kind of honed in after years and years. That's a very big part of being able to be agile. And as you move through the process and see other problems arise or other issues that would need to be used to fix the use case or make the project the best it can be, having that ability to be agile, say, okay, well, I can't know everything, so let me rely on the expertise of somebody else, of the vendor I'm using. That's a very powerful thing. And, just not being afraid of AI. I know I've spoken to this about with a lot of people as well. AI is such a boom right now, but it's also a lot of uncertainty where it's going to go, how it's going to be used, whether or not we're going to keep our jobs. And I think a lot of that is, like Azia mentioned, the hype around it also causes fear. And we have to be patient, sit back, see how AI is really going to blossom in different industries, are going to use it in a different way. I mean, for me personally, I don't know about having a robot operating on me, an AI robot operating on me, but in other use cases and industries, I think it can be of great value if we're open to it.
Yeah, and I can give you example myself, right? Because I'm too long in AI, and of course, I adopted the LLMs first. They came out on the market and was very happy and see I saw the future right now, and I see the change. And what Nina is talking about fear, yeah, it's a lot of fear and confusion, because especially bigger companies, they realize they need to change, but not be able to sustain without doing business what they do before. A smaller companies easier, right? Because they're very agile. They can switch things, but bigger companies no, right? So just really educating about the AI is good things coming. And usually what I gave example, I stopped coding last maybe almost like a year, maybe 9 months. I'm not coding anymore. I'm completely using AI, and I'm so much more productive, right? So I see very positive in my life. Yeah, I have a different issue because sometimes I will tell something and agent will do something else. I will code completely. I need to say go back and but still I was able, for example, in one day to write 1,000 lines of code, and it was working, right? You cannot do that as before, right? So I think part of education is that embrace that new technology. As every new technology will help us, of course, our life will be different. How we do things will be different. But just that positive attitude, because I don't think anybody will be able to stop AI because it's going, it's just, right. So you need to embrace it. So part of our education will be, yeah, there is this, there is a lot of confusion, but with these examples, you will change how you do business, you will change how you do coding, you will change how you make decisions, but it's a good change, right? So you need to go in that path, not to be afraid.
I agree. I also, part of the reason you can use AI to write 1,000 lines of code in a day is because you can read that code. You actually know whether it's doing the right thing or not. You're not blindly consuming. And I think that boundary is an interesting one, especially as you're solving internal problems and addressing needs at businesses. It's not just a matter of blindly fixing. They have to have a vision for where it's going to go. And so it resonates a lot that you can't be afraid to use it. It also feels like, and sort of the theme we've had here is around experimentation. I think there's also a component of being willing to experiment and see how it works and put it together and see how it affects the system. Thank you both for a great conversation today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.